Yeah. Hi, guys. Hello, everybody, to the first ever episode of PGR Unfiltered. I'm Jay. If you don't know me by now, I'm one of the admins here, and I'm joined alongside me by Manic, another admin. How you doing, Manic? You okay?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Yeah, good tonight. Doing well.
About time we got the ball rolling with this, isn't it? It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. It's been talked about for a while, but actually getting it into motion is a whole different thing, as I'm sure many people know with everything. It's good to finally get it going.
Yeah, and we've got a lot to talk about today, and we've already done a segment with the DTS boys in Wayne and Armand, so we've got some good stuff lined up to talk about.
Yeah, it was good to talk to them about DTS and about the Wednesday League and sort of their experiences this season. I think they've had pretty positive responses to everything, which is great. Armand's took on commentating this year, which is really enjoyed, and Wayne's had a pretty good experience, moved to Wheel this season as well, so he's had quite a good experience as well. I think the Wednesday's been a real breath of fresh air for people because it's
unbelievable,
it's a completely different experience.
It's I don't think many leagues. I'm sure leagues do custom formats, but I don't think many leagues will find it as successful as we're currently finding it. And to be able to link that to Drivers to Survive for the upcoming season, it's exciting. It's really exciting. So
yeah, I don't think I've ever had so many people DM me before. We've actually put out a sign up to say I want in, like get me in. So it's great to see.
And we've actually make rules, haven't we, to say sorry, but if you don't race on Sunday or Tuesday, then you can't take part in our Wednesday format. It's exclusive to the loyalists.
Yeah, simply because it's like an added extra, and it is the thing that's got a lot of motivation. You know, most leagues do normal formats, they do their short qualifying, but I don't think many people have this. So I've had a lot of people, interested about this sort of thing and waiting to get involved, which is great. Obviously, I'll be going into the new season. It looks like as the reigning champ team principal, so I can. I need to get my shoulders out about that one until the new season comes out.
I'm sure you'll be
inevitably lose my crown.
Yeah, but the thing is, you will go into it as the reigning champions on the Drive to Survive, the episodes. So you'll be looked at as big dogs throughout the season, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, the problem I've got, right, is even though I've got the first pick probably coming in the draft that's coming up, I've got now two world-class drivers who are reliable and have done impressively in the last couple of races. I can only pick one, so I'm going to have to involuntarily sack one of my drivers, which is probably not the best way to look at it. But
there's a good way of deciding, though. So what you need from Ben, Mr. Holiday Rep, is a 12-week calendar from him to know his whereabouts every Wednesday. Because if it's any more than 2 missed races, you're going to pick Scotty, surely.
Yeah, I mean, he's been phenomenal the races that he has shown up. He was unlucky with the penalty in Hungary, or he would have had 3 back-to-back. But yeah, they've both been phenomenal. I feel like I'm almost cheating, but it is what it is.
Well, that's for later on. Let's talk about PGR in general.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're coming towards the end of the first regular 12-week season that we've had. We've obviously done 9 races previous, and I think 12 has been sort of asked for quite a lot in the past, and it seems to have come with very strong feedback from people. People seem to be enjoying the longer season. I think we're on race 10. We've just done so, and there's no championships and no constructors wrapped up just yet.
There's a few favourites, but aside from that, there's 2 or 3 nearly in every tier that can win it. Which is exactly what you wanted, and exactly what we wanted as an admin team in regards to the clean, fair racing and also competitive. So,
yeah, there's nobody really out. I had a look through this morning. There's nobody really in any tier that you think, there's a couple of people that are likely to win championships, but there's a lot of promotion battles, relegation battles. There's something interesting in each tier still going on, which is good. You don't want complete washouts. Particularly a couple of constructors battles are still like 5 or 6 teams could win it with 2 races to go, which is really great to see.
How's champions looking? Because you've obviously in the possibility of going up into champions. So how's that looking this season? Who's the favourites to win? Who's impressed you?
So obviously the favourite to win at the minute is Che, but that's because Che has been here since the start. I think if a couple of the reliable great drivers which we've got on board recently, like Orion Lemons and Simpendal, if drivers like what that were here since the start of the season, I think it'd be a very different title picture. But Che's likely to win this one now. However, there are some other drivers that have done really well that have come up from Elite last year, and I think a lot of people go into Champions and think, "Oh my God, the qualifying pace of these top few guys is so scary." But some people have done really well. We've got the guy who won Elite last season is currently sat in P3, Blue New, one of our stewards.
Amazing.
We've got Matthew Martin, who only finished fifth in Elite last year, and he's fifth in Champs now, so he's risen to the occasion. And there's some people who aren't quite there on the pace that are really taking advantage of strategy when they can and mistakes of others when they can, like Hassan and like Rob Williams, that are actually performing quite well. So I still have faith. I feel like Scotty, who's currently winning Elite, and myself, if I keep the consistency that I didn't have in Spa this week, could probably do pretty well there. Because I feel like consistency is key. As is shown by drivers like Blue New that aren't necessarily getting on the podium every week, but they're getting the constant decent results, which are putting them right up there in the standings.
Yeah, I have to agree. Racecraft is just as equally good as pace. It's equally as important. We see that in all tiers, even your tier. We've got Chris Basson, who isn't the fastest.
Yeah. So Basson's one I wanted to talk about. So he's one lap pace has been way off. He won't mind me saying, I don't think. That, I know this isn't the best stat, Chris, and I'm sorry about this, but you've qualified in the bottom 3 in 8 out of the 9 races that you've competed in qualifying. But the flip side to that is you're currently sat P9 in the standings and have 60 gained positions this season.
Jesus.
which you did the same sort of thing in Apex and got promoted. Unfortunately, it's been a bit more challenging for you this season in Elite, with there being some very fast drivers towards the front. But to be mid-table and having qualified in the bottom 3 in almost every race is a phenomenal effort. So, yeah, shout out to Chris on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other person I kind of wanted to speak about is a friend Scotty, who's just kind of ran away with it a little bit towards the end of the season. Unfortunately, one thing we can't predict when doing all these seedings is when people start practicing that don't. And Scotty's one of those. Scotty was there or thereabouts, probably edge of promotion, seeding 3, 4, and then has just started practicing, coming on the game and gone, oh, you know what? I can absolutely murk the rest of this division. I'm just going to practice, and is now winning and getting top 3 in nearly every race.
There's something about that friendship group, isn't there? There's that friendship group, right? You've got one of which is the best at getting overtakes or positions gained in a race. You've got one who is incredibly quick and can go into champions next year and challenge, I think, if he keeps practicing, depending on the new game, of course. And then you've got the other who's balanced and doesn't turn up. And then the other one who is wasn't going to say it now, who is he's found pace as well. Wayne is unbelievable. So all of them in that have got their own little characteristics as a group of friends.
They've all changed quite a lot this season. I think Wayne's moved to wheel towards the end of the season. He's found decent success with that. Scotty's practiced a lot more and he's found success with that. Basson, although it may look like he's having a worse season this season than last, he's moved up a division, so he's probably having a better season than last. He only just got promoted from Apex, so he probably would have been expected to go back down, or be very close to, but he's actually nowhere near that. So the whole group as a whole is doing pretty well.
And being an elite this season, who's impressed you? Who's the drivers that have bar Chris? Like who up the top you race against every week is impressing you so far?
There's drivers sometimes where you race every week and you're just like, oh my dear Lord, how's this guy in my division? Because he's just driving away from me. I think one of those has probably been Dental. So Cordno Andre is his name. I probably pronounced that horrendously. Yeah. Apologies. His pace has just been ridiculous. I think he's been really unfortunate. He's got involved in a few too many incidents this season. And he's a bit lower than he should be. But pace-wise, him and Scotty are very similar. and he's even pulled away from Scotty in several occasions when I've seen him. So I've been impressed with him. Steve B has been one whose attitude has just been absolutely fantastic this season. He's not been up there a lot of the time, but he messages me quite often and says, you know what, I've been quite far off today, but I really enjoyed the race and it's been clean, it's been great. I think the whole tier as a whole has just dramatically improved its racecraft as the season's gone on.
Yeah, because at the beginning, it's fair to say it was quite aggressive in places, a bit like Legacy.
Yeah, so Elite and Legacy both had a similar issue where there was quite a lot of what I'd call not dirty but aggressive drivers. And when you get two aggressive drivers who don't like giving that much room, it often ends up with collisions. Yeah. And I think as they've driven more and more together, they've kind of realized, okay, this guy's aggressive, I'm a bit aggressive. Let's take this cautiously. And it's caused the incidents to go way down. I think our penalty system's fantastic for sort of giving people a kick up the arse to do that. And it's been a lot better this season. Towards the latter end, particularly of the season, the incidents have gone way down.
There's two drivers I want to ask you about in your tier. The first one is Tuck. Am I right in saying he is still no traction? Or has he?
So no, he has just, I believe, gone back. So if you look at his result in Jeddah in Pro, I believe he's gone back to full again now, which is why he's sort of challenging.
Did think because he's gone up a few places in the tier. So I was wondering what he was doing.
Yeah, he's gone back. He's gone back to it. He's done well. I've done exactly the same. You see, I've lost faith in the game's mechanics, unfortunately. After my last race in Spa previous to this one, where my car just decided to go into the wall for no reason. I've watched that clip about 400 times and I still can't see what I did wrong. I just don't think the traction and the mechanics on the game is reliable enough, which I think is, if you speak to loads of drivers, I've spoke to quite a few in Elite and Legacy and said, like, what are you doing with traction this season? A lot of them said, oh yeah, I drove medium or I drove off last season, but I've had to go back to full. It's just not reliable. Some drivers in champs are still quicker on no traction because they've done it for years and years and years, but I find a lot of guys that have been new to it in the last 12 months or so have had to go back up. Me, for example, I practiced for 5 months quite regularly. And I then went to Australia. I remember doing the race. I went on hards, did a couple of laps of Australia, did about 10, 15 laps. I was at a certain time, went and did one lap on full traction after not touching it for 6 months, and I was 7/10 quicker. And I was like, yeah. Okay,
whereas with F121, that last year's game was you were able to practice. You have to put the time in, of course, but you were able to go to medium traction and be quicker. Whereas this time
it's just it seems a struggle. I don't know many, even in the entire league, that are on medium that are that much faster than they are on full. I think No is definitely faster, but I'm just not good enough to do that. But yeah, I think hopefully I've heard good rumors so far about the mechanics on the new game. So hopefully the traction system's a lot more accommodating to people.
Well, we now know a bit more than we did, didn't we, when we first started the podcast the other day? So what's changed? So what are we going to expect with the new game, bar the release date now being June?
Yeah, so obviously we know the release date's the 16th, regarding which version you've got, and then we've got the new My Team type story thing, which won't affect us too much. And then the things that have been confirmed so far are 35% races, which I don't think we'll take on, but maybe worth a discussion at some point for some sort of form of races, maybe with sprints or something like that. And the biggest one, I think, that's caused a lot of noise is the red flags. How that will be.
That could be game changing. Whether or not, I know there's a lot of talk with red flags, if that's actually going to be across the board in online mode, but that's the one thing people are questioning right now. But that would be game changing for, I've got lots of questions about it. Is that going to be a safety car comes out and then it goes red flag, or is it going to be a straight up red flag? Because it's going to change a lot of people's strategies, mindsets, you name it. It's going to be an interesting addition to the league, that's for sure, if it is, of course, available in online mode.
I hope that it's just quite basic to start with, and that because I feel like more glitches are going to come if it involves safety cars and VSCs. I hope that it's just that to start with, they've brought it in as a straight, it's a red flag. You can select to change your tyres for free. And from the first person pressing X, you have 2 minutes or something to select to change your tyres, and then it carries on the race.
It does create the drama.
It's from a standing start.
Yeah, if it does switch, if it is one of those eventually that goes from a VSC, someone pops into pit, goes in hard, and then goes to a red flag, that's going to cause a few controllers to be thrown out the window.
I hope it's something that's configurable. I hope it's something where you can put, can red flags be caused under safety car or something like that? Or can it just be straight red flags? But I honestly don't think that they'll implement that. We're all iffing and butting until we get another trailer, until somebody gets their hands on it and sees, which I'm sure will come out in the next week or two.
Do you like red flags, or are you?
I like them. The idea of it brings an extra nature to it. I just hope that there's no glitches that come with it is my main concern. I don't want to be in a VSC, an SC, oh, your delta's gone, oh, red flag. Or, anything that could cause huge controversy that we can't control as a league. That's the things that kind of worry me when we have to make those 50-50 decisions that are going to upset someone, and it's not anything that we can control. That's the sort of thing that worries me.
Yeah, I agree. It'll just be interesting to see what we decide come what may if we were given the option. Maybe it gets cast to a vote whether or not we have it straight up red flag, or whether red flags can go under safety car.
Well, once we've got all the information and we've got all the numbers for drivers and things like that, I'm sure we can discuss it with them. We're certainly not a dictatorship, and we like to listen to the people generally with these sort of things, as we've done with full quali and sprints and Sundays and those sort of things recently.
And when we need to hear from the people. With the three of us have been wanting the information for so long, and now we've got it. We can start planning the calendar, start getting your seedings done and looking at tracks and things like that. So we're happy that there is actually a plan in motion now, and of course that's released on the 13th.
13th if you've got the Ultimate Edition, and 16th if you've got the Standard. So I think a lot of people are going to pre-order, but a lot of people will wait for their paycheck after that and things like that due to the price. Do you know of games these days being a little expensive? But
got a little podcast exclusive as well, actually. Reminds me, Manic. So we know the game is released on the 13th. We're going to have a disco birthday party on the 14th, the day after release. For a beloved youngster. I don't know if that's the right words, really, actually. But Brad's birthday's on the 14th. So we're going to have a Discord party.
Everyone in the server, apart from one person, will be happy about that birthday, won't they? So,
there'll be new sign-ups. That's because there'll be a new game. We'll have a lot more sign-ups, so you can have a chat with everybody that comes in. But should we play a game?
Yeah.
Sure. In the spirit of winding up, right? So, for those that are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see what happens next. If you are listening, you're kind of going to have to switch on to Discord and see if you can figure it out. But basically, Manic, we're playing a game of anagrams. So I'm going to give you an anagram, all right? And you are going to have to work out which driver in the Discord this anagram is. They're not the cleanest of things, but I'll send you the first one, okay? It is on its way to you now. How are you with anagrams, firstly?
Somewhere between abysmal and dreadful.
All right.
Sort of on that scale. I'm more of a spreadsheet and numbers kind of guy. So we'll see how this goes.
Well, I've just sent you the first one. I will only give you one clue for this. Actually, two. I'll give you two.
I'll read this out for anyone listening. So the word is chef shit. So chef shit.
It's two words, and they are a Champions tier driver.
Champions tier driver, chef shit. Are we going to have to change their name in the Discord to Chef Shit after this?
I think the ones you've got coming, you're going to definitely be changing their names. This is the mildest of the three.
Chef Shit. Can I have a clue?
All right, so bar being a champions driver, they are relatively new to the Discord. I don't think they've raced more than, well, this season. So relatively new.
I wish people could see my face and see how confused I am.
Shall I give you the answer?
Yeah, I don't have a clue, Joe.
All right. So it is Fish Tech.
Fish Tech. Oh my god, he's going to kill me.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Fish Tech.
Fish Tech.
That one wasn't that bad either.
Right, it gets better.
What do you mean it gets better? You mean worse for me?
It gets better for me,
Great.
yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
So again, on the screen, I've just sent you this, and this is Danded Vagina. I'll give you a little fact.
You need help. What is that? Danded Vagina?
I'll give you a little fact.
Whoever this
about
is,
it.
Change your Discord name.
Yeah, they're going to have to. This is literally their new name for life in PGR. But Danded, if you go on Google, I'll prove it. Go on Google and type in Danded. It also means angry. So technically, this driver is an angry vagina.
Who in the Discord is an angry vagina? That's the question. There can't be that many people with V in their name, surely.
There's a couple. Do you want a clue?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
2 clues I'll give you, actually. So they're Scottish, I believe. Yeah, they are. And they drive in the Apex tier.
VVV. Dave Riley?
No, I'm afraid that's the wrong answer.
Oh, there's no Y there, is there? Of course it's not. No, who is it?
It is Nay Danger David.
Nay Danger David. I'm sorry, Nay Danger. You've had a great season this season as well.
Yeah,
Shout
you've had a brilliant
season. Sorry
season.
for your missing name.
So Nay Danger David is a Danded vagina. Yeah, I couldn't tell you how long I spent going through these anagrams, right? This system, and trying to find rude anagrams for drivers in our league. But this one that's coming up probably tops it all. So again,
okay, I'll try not to let us down on this one.
I will let you read this word out to those listening.
Okay, I'm ready. I don't know if everyone else is. Oh dear. So we've got hard, thick zinger is the word. I've heard a lot of terms used to describe appendages over the years, but that's new.
Honestly, when you find out who this is, you're going to wet yourself. It couldn't happen to a nicer bloke.
Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. Is that a clue?
Well, in a sense of he's a nice bloke. He just uses some obscene language sometimes.
Oh, it's Chaz.
It's Chaz. Knight Rider. Yes, it is Chaz. Oh, look, I've even thrown his face in.
I knew your name.
So, Chaz, you are a hard, thick zinger.
Hard, thick zinger, Chaz. I'm sorry to everyone when you get these names changed on the Discord. It'll be funny when they haven't listened to it and they're like, "Why is my name that?"
Okay. We'll be seeing that, I'm sure, next week, branded around. Did you enjoy that?
I felt very confused and embarrassed that I didn't know our own drivers' names for a minute, but I'm terrible with anagrams. This is probably the worst game you could have done for me, because I don't know. But that makes it more entertaining.
Well, that's good news, because I will do the same thing for you next month. If this is successful, I'll come back with 3 more anagrams and maybe have a list in front of you of all the drivers or something.
I might need some. Yeah, I might have a list of the drivers or something. I'll be a bit more prepared. Oh dear, right. I feel violated by that one. So as far as actual F1 this season, what's your thoughts? I know that Baku was a bit disappointing, really, with the new format myself.
Yeah, very disappointed. But do you know what? I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, and I'll always be the first on the Discord to shout about it. But what I have found, bar the year of him and Max, is I'm getting quite bored of this one team dominates all by 20 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I think that's one area of F1 that really, really lets it down, because we know we're going to go into Miami this weekend and it's going to be the Red Bulls in front. But the good thing that I've seen and that I've really enjoyed is Checo Perez's season, how it's gone so far. He's challenging his teammate. It's not just going to be Max winning every race, but Aston Martins have been surprising, and I've liked the revival of the McLaren, because I believe at the early stages, especially before Bahrain and all the practice and the testing, they looked terrible. I don't know what you think, but they all looked shocking. And there's a little bit of a revival there. But yeah, I think, as always, enjoying it, but I just wish there was some closer battles up front.
Yeah, so I think it seems very track dependent this season. I was really excited in Bahrain to see the Astons doing well. I say the Astons doing well, Alonso doing well, and it all seemed relatively close. And then we've got to some tracks that have got some more straight line speed on them, and the Red Bulls have just disappeared, particularly Jeddah and Baku. An interesting thing that Norris said on his post-race interview in Baku was that our car hasn't improved at all. It is just the track.
Really?
If we went to Bahrain, we would still be last.
Okay, wow. All right. So for another couple of races...
What's really interesting to me is teams like Alpine, right, and AlphaTauri. So AlphaTauri, I think Tsunoda qualified 7th or similar to that in Baku. I could be wrong. And that car was the slowest on the grid in every other race that's happened so far this season, apart from maybe Jeddah, where I think McLaren really struggled. And in Baku, they were okay. But then Alpine were the best team outside of Red Bulls and the group below of Mercedes, Aston Martin, and Ferrari. They were the next best team, sort of best of the rest. And then we get to Baku, and the car's just an absolute bag of shit. It looks like the worst car on the grid, if not, well, that or the Haas.
Yeah.
It just seems that the cars this season are very track dependent. Apart from the Red Bull, where it's dominant everywhere.
It's formidable, doesn't it?
Generally, the cars just seem a bit weird. I've never seen this before in F1. There's always cars that are a bit more straight line speedish. You know, pre-2022, in 2021, you sort of had the Ferraris were good round corners, and the McLarens were good in a straight line in sort of the top midfield. Whereas now it's drastic. I think that's because a lot of the field are close together.
I mean,
apart from
that's the one good thing, isn't it? Is the midfield. But do you know who's impressed me probably the most? I think is actually Alex Albon. His performances for Williams, brilliant. I think, especially in quali more so than anything. But yeah, I think Alex Albon's been having a good life in that Williams car this year.
Yeah, he's almost took over George Russell's mantle as sort of the overperforming Williams driver, hasn't he?
Saturday.
Which is impressive, because Russell was phenomenal in the Williams, and is now challenging Hamilton. And I'm by no means saying that Alex Albon's of that same cloth, but he is definitely doing that. We've seen glimpses of Sargent performing quickly, but he seems to be another Mick Schumacher to me at the moment, where he's got decent pace, but he crashes in every single session. And I think he's going to lose his seat very quickly.
Who's going to lose their seats? If we predict who's going to lose their seats now, give me 3 drivers that could lose their seats at the end of the season.
Well, Sargent 100% is going to lose his seat at the end of the season. He's just, unless he gets his shit together in the next couple of races, I don't think he's got many left until the decision's already made. He's costing them too much money. I think him. I think probably Nick de Vries. Because Nick de Vries is getting outperformed by Tsunoda most races, if not all, and does not have youth on his side. You've got to be outperforming the young ones in F1, because they always look to the future. And I believe, and I could be wrong, the lad who just did an absolute wonderful clean sweep at the weekend, Bierman, is a Red Bull Academy driver. And he's looking very strong in F2, and he will be after that seat if they do not improve.
And you've got who else? You've got Liam Lawson as well.
And then a third one. I'm going to have to go out somewhere big here, I think. I don't see... the talk about Hamilton's literally just for press. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think if Ferrari continue to be a cluster, then Leclerc could likely leave in the next year or two. I think he's the big one that could move.
Is that to Merck or is that to Red Bull though?
I think he will. I think so. My prediction for the rest of the season is Checo Perez. Once we get out of the street tracks that we're doing at the moment, will start underperforming to Max again severely. Will get dominated for the rest of the season, and Leclerc may go to Red Bull. I think Perez is only doing well because of the street tracks.
I can see the logic there because, he is a very good street track driver. We saw it in Singapore.
But even on these street tracks, right, he's only keeping pace with Verstappen a lot of the time. And for all those that are listening, I am by no means a Verstappen fan. I'm fairly neutral when it comes to Formula One now. I was a big Sebastian Vettel fan, but he's retired now.
Now Fernando Alonso has taken your mantelpiece, I think.
I like the way that the old Vettel built the car that Alonso's now driving. That makes me feel happy. I'd probably say I like McLaren at the minute, but it's kind of a I'm a huge fan of. Anyway, getting back to the point, I think Verstappen he's only the same sort of pace as Perez around these tracks, and I think he far outperforms him on the non-street tracks. I think Miami might be close again, but as soon as we get out of these street tracks, I think it's back to Verstappen dominance, and he wins the championship by 200 points again.
Do you know? I don't think you have. I don't think you're far wrong there. I think that's some good analysis. I think that I'm sitting here tending to agree with what you're saying about that, and I can see Verstappen doing better once the European tracks become more prominent.
Yeah, so I would think Verstappen wins by a long way this season. I think if Ferrari have any more disaster classes that cost Leclerc anything, because Leclerc is the best qualifier in Formula One. There is very little to no debate that if he goes in an equal car to everyone else, he qualifies P1 20 out of the 26 races this season.
I actually think arguably you could say in a few years' time he would be the best qualifier ever. Depends what vehicle though. Depends what car he's going to have.
People have got to look back, right? People look at Sainz and think he's fairly average at the moment. You've got to look back to 2020. He was in the same car as Lando Norris, and they got fairly equal points all season.
Yeah.
So you've got Sainz is relative to Norris outside of his development currently. If you class Norris as a top driver, you've got to class Sainz as a top driver. You've got to.
Yeah.
So for Leclerc to beat him by nearly a second in qualifying shows you Leclerc's qualifying pace.
Do you think just the car then that's stopping him from winning races and challenging for the championship, or do you generally think that his overall race class stops him winning more races?
I think he's very much an on the limit driver a lot of the time, but I also think that last season he kind of knew that this is my chance and I need to grasp it with both hands, and I think he went a bit over the top.
Yeah.
And caused a lot of... It was a mixture of a Ferrari disaster class of strategy and him making personal mistakes. I think the one in France usually screams out to people.
Yeah, oh God, that was a bad day for both Ferrari drivers.
I also think that the development that Red Bull had last season, even if he had made no mistakes last season, he still would have been nearly 100 points off Verstappen by the end of the year. The Ferrari was not the same car as the Red Bull at the end of the year.
Well, long season to go. In a few minutes' time, we're going to welcome Armin and Wayne. I just want to touch upon quickly before they do, because one of these drivers is an Apex driver. So if we're looking to see how Apex are doing, our admin partner, Hilly, he's currently smashing that championship, isn't he? He's going on holiday, so it's not all rosy. It's more so is it the Sunday tier he's doing better in, or was it Apex?
So it's the Sunday tier. He's about a race win ahead with 2 races to go. I believe he's 46 points clear.
Yes.
On Sunday.
Belgium hasn't been kind to him, has it?
No, and Tuesday he is currently around 20 points ahead. So, he's currently about 20 points ahead on the Tuesday, but Liam's only 20 points behind, and I think he's finished on the podium in the last 5 or 6 races. So,
yeah, and Maverick's also in the picture as well as an outside chance for Thunstrom. So
Maverick and Thunstrom both need a win in Miami. Maverick is 30 points off Liam and 50 off Hilly. Thunstrom is 80 points off. So Thunstrom needs a near miracle, and Maverick needs to win in Miami, and he needs Liam to not place well. Obviously, Hilly's not there, so we're talking. If Liam wins, he's favourite going to Derby. If Mav wins and Liam's a little bit off, it's very close going into Derby. We're between the three. If Thunstrom wins and Mav and Liam both DNF, then it's close going into Derby.
I think no matter what, we're going to have a battle in the desert in Derby for this tier. Who wins it? Hilly's still favourite, I guess.
Wins it? I think Hilly will pull off a masterclass in Derby and somehow still win. Even if
he doesn't qualify well either, but he still does. He hasn't qualified well this season. There's been certain tracks where he would always do really well, like Hungary and things, but he doesn't generally qualify amazingly. He doesn't. I think Maverick's one of the best qualifiers in that tier.
Maverick's a phenomenal qualifier. I raced them on a Sunday, don't I? So but I still think he's favourite regardless of where he is on track, because he is one again that has race pace, can do really well. But I think a few drivers outside of that title race that could also get promoted. If you're looking at Rattigan, how well he's come on since his arrival in PGR. But the one that's impressed me the most is Danger David. I know, Danded Vagina. Danded Vagina. So the Danded Vagina missed the last race, which kind of brought the other guys around. So for those listening that aren't aware, our top 6 get promoted. So Nadange is currently sat in 5th with 222 points. Rattigan's P6 with 221, one behind. Amazing. So they're currently in the promotion places. Dave Riley's on 210, 11 behind. Neg Golf's 185, so he's a little bit off. He needs a big result in Miami, but it's going to go down to the wire again.
Yeah, that's another driver.
Only 2 of the 4 can go up.
Dave Riley as well was he in all tiers that he races in, I think, is really improved.
Yeah, particularly I think he was sort of middle of the pack for a lot of the season, and then I think I was racing, and then I saw he'd won a race, and I went and looked at the results, and he got pole and won the race, and then the next race he was close to pole and did really well, and I thought, oh my god, he's making a late surge out of nowhere. So yeah, he's definitely come on.
Yeah,
I think Rattigan's been a bit unfortunate in some races, but has done really well in the last couple, and Nadanger's massively improved. It wasn't long ago that Nadange was in the bottom tier in Evolution as well.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago at all. He only got moved up just for the racecraft kind of thing. He wanted to race in a cleaner tier at the time, so he was really, I think, even in your expectations, maybe when you do your seeding, like a bottom 8 driver of the. He wasn't expected to be in a promotion hunt. It's more or less. What I'm saying.
Certainly not. No, certainly not. I think when we initially looked at it, so he's in the Aston Martin with his friend Perez. Him and Spain Perez are friends, aren't they? But they were both seated in the bottom half, which is why we said it was okay. Didn't particularly expect them to do very well at all. And although Aston aren't the highest in the constructors at the moment, they're only 40 points off of 3rd.
Wow.
So, as a team that were both seeded in the bottom half, they're doing really well. So.
And just before they joined, was squeezing some information on Evo and Academy and things. So having been a driver this year for the first time in Academy, but also more so for Evolution, JT Codders is blowing people away, isn't he? How quick is he? He's going to
one even I've had my eyes on.
Yeah. He's going to challenge an Apex. He's going to win that, I think, as well, personally, depending on who comes down from the elite.
He's going to do what we refer to as a Mick Wattigan. Shout out to Nick.
Yes.
Back-to-back promotions, back-to-back wins.
I do see it happening. He's unbelievable. And he's got the racecraft to go with it as well, so he can make his way through the field. If he ever ends up in a safety car where he's 10th or 11th position, he will get back up into the top podiums without getting into trouble. So he's done really well. Never Fear, of course, another one that should get promoted, but is equally challenging JT for that title in Evo. On Sundays, I've got the opportunity to beat JT, but unfortunately for me, I think Austria's next, which is not good from my viewpoint. Only 25 points off, but I just don't see JT being caught in either tier, to be honest with you.
Austria is a really weird track. I used to love it. I don't really think it's very good in these new cars, if I'm honest. I think it's a very DRS trainee track, and it's just about staying in that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to get overtakes done, for sure. But yeah, JT's been phenomenal. I've been watching some of the results from Academy and Evo. Obviously, we post all of our results and I sort of have a look at them. And he's been qualifying close to me, 2 divisions above him, quite regularly. And I thought, my God, I'm going to be racing this guy soon. I've never done one race with him, but I think I will be soon if he carries on. So yeah, he's done really well.
The new game will play a big part in, how do people take to it. But if he takes to it the same way he's been practicing and getting on recently, he'll be fine. One person that's is done really well in my eyes as well recently, more so than anything, is Preeks. He's really improved. I look forward to racing to him. He's a lot cleaner than he was, and there's a lot less incidents. So I actually think Preeks is a good bet as well if he's to go up for next season. Then because he's just on the outskirts, I think he will do well as well in Apex. But there's a few names.
Preeks is one that Preeks is one that got in quite a lot of incidents when he first joined, and I think that's one of the things I'm kind of proud of here is that we've developed so many drivers from. We always say that if you've got the right attitude, we don't mind if your standards aren't quite there yet, because we will tell you that you're wrong. We will tell you that you've been caused in this, and you will get punished. And people learn from that. And Preeks is one of those, like Rattigan did previously, and like many others have, that they learn and they've improved. And Preeks' pace has come on phenomenally. Yeah, I think he's sat in 5th in Evolution at the minute, after a streak of really strong results. So yeah, really look forward to see where he ends up.
Yeah, so I think every tier will probably have, correct me if I'm wrong, Manic, in more, I think actually in all 7 tiers. I'm not including Wednesdays in that, but I feel like every tier could potentially still go down to last race. Is there anybody in any tier that's going to outright damn win it already? No one's won it yet, have they? So
nobody's
closest?
Won it yet, but I think 1 or 2 can in the next one. Okay. I think Che can win in the second to last race in Champions, but I think apart from him, I don't think anyone else will. He may, just because we've had some driver movement in the top division this season, but and some holidays and this and that. But apart from him, no, I think every single race and every single promotion and every single relegation in all 7 tiers will go down to Abu Dhabi.
Which is incredible stuff. That is what we wanted at the beginning of all this. So, shall we welcome the lads in?
Yeah, shall do.
Right.
It's all right.
So now we introduce our special guests. We've got Armin and Wayne joining us, 2 of the PGR's most prestigious guests. Welcome, boys.
I'm not going to say anything. What's up, boys? PGR greatest. One of the PGR great drivers with Jay.
Should we just admit what's just happened?
Yeah. We're the 2 goats of PGR.
We've just recorded for about 20 minutes and realised that your guys' voices aren't being captured, so we're here again, pretending that we've just spoken for the first time.
About to book tomorrow off as holiday.
Manic's lost his shit.
It's a Friday. What the fuck are you doing working tomorrow?
I don't, to be fair. Thankfully.
I don't know.
How do you feel about being the first special guest of the infamous PGR Unfiltered?
Honoured. Absolutely honoured. That's not sarcastic.
We've had requests, We've had request singular to be on.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
one
Andreas.
request so far, I think.
Request. We've had a request.
Requested singular, yeah. I didn't put an S on the end. All right.
That's fair enough.
We're big time now.
I feel it.
PGR massive.
So
talking about that Wednesday league, we haven't mentioned that yet, have we?
No,
we spoke about Wednesday league.
Didn't know we had one.
So how have you boys enjoyed your time in PGR? You both joined roughly at the same time, June, July last year, so tell us about it. Tell me more.
Yeah, I love it, to be fair. Like, we played in a, like I say, with Scott, Basson, Kyle. We just done like a little league between us, but like PGR and like league race is so competitive. It's so fun. Every week's different. Like, you get different things happen every week. the track. So yeah, no, it's been really good.
And you've both been great additions. You're obviously both stewards in that now. You're on the DTS,
Yeah.
the cameramen. So Wayne, with you, you obviously drive in Apex and in Academy. So how have you found those tiers this year?
The Apex inconsistent, to say the least. Like I've had, I know I can be a lot quicker, and I know like you know, when things just seem to go against you, I've made mistakes, and so like I'm just not getting like the finishes I need. But that will change. I'm now obviously on the wheel, so
Were they genuine general mistakes?
genuine mistake. Where's my right now? Sundays,
Oh, no.
like yeah, different story. Obviously, I found some pace. I'm up there. I should be higher, but yeah, obviously won my first race the other day. So
Yeah, so it's your second PGR race. Second race in PGR history that you've won, and the first time you won one on the real wheel, wasn't it? So how has that been transitioning from the pad over to the wheel?
you know what? At first, it was just literally using the pedals and the wheel at the same time, and it's alien, isn't it? Like you've got one, so it's so difficult. And you were doing well, I was doing time trials, losing so much time to your controller laps. And you're like, how can I improve? Like just gradually, like time just comes down until you start sort of getting quicker and quicker. So I'm finding like Jeddah, for example, I'm so much quicker on the chicanes and everything. So yeah, no, it's been fun. And using the wheel, just I enjoy it so much more than a controller. It makes races so much better. So
Do you know
yeah,
the mad thing
enjoying
as
it.
well, Wayne? I'll bring it up now, right? We're about to create flop gears, right?
Flop gear.
And the reason why it's called flop
Yeah.
gears was because we were flops at the wheel. But really, the true
Yeah.
flop was the fact that we didn't create it. And we made a trailer for it and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, to be fair, I had so many issues like on editing the footage. It was just crashing on every scene, so like we couldn't. And then by the time we could have got around to doing the next one, I've been using it for a while, so like I was a bit higher on the AI difficulty, I think. So it
Yeah.
would have probably been like really, I don't know. I was winning races at 80 AI, I think. But now I'm a bit higher than that. So whereas I don't know if you've been using it, have you? Can't remember.
Yeah, I've used it, but I've just used it to hang my clothes.
Oh, you're doing your first race as well.
Yeah, yeah. So on Tuesday, now that I'm out of the title race, I thought, why not transition a little bit sooner?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put some practice in between now. No.
What Wayne was just saying about can't get close to my controller times. Oh god, it's annoying. I reset my time trial every time I change my assist. So I go onto a track, I go right. So Hungary was what I learned to wheel on because it's a difficult track to do on wheel. Not generally on wheel, just it's got a lot of different aspects to it. So I reset my personal best ghost. I went right, please forget that time straight away, and then just did laps and laps and laps until I felt confident on it. And God, it took weeks, honestly, of doing loads of laps. But you do eventually get there, and it becomes second nature. Another one is manual gears. If any of you have done that yet,
I've been trying,
but you spend so much time just sat there like, oh god, I'm changing gear. Oh, I've missed the corner. Oh, I'm changing gear. I've missed the corner. Okay. But eventually it just becomes second nature. And the only thing I think about now, because I do manual on everything, the only thing I think about now is, right, this corner's a fourth gear. This corner's a fifth gear.
Yeah.
Is the only thing I think about, really. And it does really help. I think it's definitely improved my pace substantially, doing manual.
Scotty said you're much quicker as well lately, so.
Because I've got full traction.
But what about in Academy then? So in Academy, in Apex, who are the drivers that you likely... Oh my fuck, I'm going to cut that shit out. Who in Apex or Academy do you think are the best drivers to drive against? And also, who are the worst, really?
So the best racers I've come across in Academy, and I think I did say this to him as well after the races. Lately, I've noticed JT Cod. Obviously, he's quick, but he's clean as well. To be fair, like with me, I don't seem to have any incidents with him. He's obviously like running away with it a bit. But yeah, like chicken and blunts and special Clyde Rice, like 2 races. Every time I've had like going into corners with them, they're always given space.
You
Like
can trust them guys.
really
Yeah.
clean drivers.
Yeah.
I don't come across many bad ones.
No, they're
to
not.
be
Yeah,
fair. Like,
worse was
many.
probably the wrong question. Who would you get? A bit squeaky bum time with? Who?
Right, so I'd actually say I'm looking at it now. So Zane, I know I've had like the odd thing with, and Smiley. So Zane and Smiley, but also someone that I seem to like always be near on a track at some point is Riley Gallant. I've had it so many times behind me, and he's always just keeps up. And we've had a few like tight moments, but he's not been too bad. I wouldn't say there's anybody dirty in that league, like or is reckless.
No,
to be
I
honest.
agree. I think it's actually really clean as well. For considering
Yeah.
it's the bottom tier, you would expect the incident reports to be very, Evo and Academy
All
happy.
over the place. Yeah, 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 definitely.
And do you think you'll have a chance at the title?
Probably not now. I think JT Cod's obviously run away with it. I'm in 6, so I'd need to really. I mean, how many races we got left? We got like 3,
So we
haven't
got
we?
3 left, yeah. So we got this
So it's pretty
Portugal.
hard. But
Yeah,
I don't mind. Like to be honest with you, like it's about winning it. I'd like to get in the top 6. If that gets me up to the next tier, that'd be good.
I think same
But
here.
I think you've got to think about it, right? Jeddah is a wheel track. It's the
Yeah.
most wheel track on the game. JT's on the controller, I think. I could be wrong.
yeah, I think so.
All it takes is a DNF from him, and everyone, and the title race is wide open again. He's 30, 40 points ahead, right? So I know not
Yeah.
of you. You're about 20 off Jay, I think. But
Yeah.
all it takes is that, and you to get a top position on Jeddah, and it's wide open again. But that's very much if and buts. He could get P1 and just run away. But
no, you're definitely right. Crazy track.
But top 6 seems pretty secure, right? Like the gap between 6 and 7 is pretty significant now.
Yeah.
So as long as you have consistent results, both of you are going to pro. How do you think you're going to fare in pro? Bear in mind that the top couple from pro, your Hillies, your Brads, your Nate Dangers, your Milans, and probably Ash aren't going to be there.
I'm probably going to win it, to be honest.
You
I
reckon?
think your top title contenders in pro next season are probably going to be whoever comes down from Legacy.
Yeah.
And probably your people like Rattigan, Matt F1, aka Talented, Dave Riley or
yeah.
Ed Golf, whichever of them's there. Those sort of people.
Yeah.
I don't
I
fancy my
think-
chances. I don't think I'll be. I could actually get promoted. I think personally, but I think that's based on a bit of a Baston strategy where I'm not one usually, apart from the last maybe couple of races where I would DNF a lot. I'd make up positions and go up to say 4th and 5th and finish in those kind of positions. So I think I could get promoted just by attendance and that alone. Do you know what I mean? I think Wayne is going to be up there because his performances, even on some days in Apex, are very good. So yeah.
I think whoever comes down from Legacy will probably win pro.
Who's that likely to be though?
Because the bottom of Legacy are all still very fast.
Yeah. Who's in that bottom kind of?
So the bottom
talking?
people at the minute, but the problem is, right, the bottom people aren't necessarily the bottom people because they've not done the races. But if I go on the statistics and go points per race or something like that, probably the most accurate way of doing it. In which case, it's currently Type R Fit, who, if he goes down, would be insane. That would not work. Steve B, who I think should be in pro, but is sticking it out. He probably will do okay there. Ale, and Metaxas currently. GFO.
I also have an additional point to this.
Hello.
Can they deal with the pressure of the camera?
Yeah, well, you've got to deal with your comms. Yeah. Well, I think you've had the. I don't know how we ended up with you doing pro, but it's because Legacy and Academy are 15 minutes from pros at the same time, isn't it? You've kind of nailed it on the head there. That tier is the most competitive tier in the whole league. You've nailed it getting that as comms. It's fantastic, that tier.
Yeah.
Considering at the start of the season we were talking about Chris Basson because he's now in Elite. potentially being in Legacy, and he's only 12th in Pro. Shows
That's
how
his
competitive
qualifying.
it
That's
is.
his
It is,
problem.
but he's doing all right in Elite. He's
Is he?
My stat, right, which he'll hate me for, is that he's qualified in the bottom 3 in 7 out of the 8 races in Elite, but he's P9 in the standings.
That's what I mean. If he could just improve that quality and just find
He's
something.
gained 58 positions in Elite this season, and he's
unbelievable.
missed a race. So
just crazy.
he's missed a race. So he's done 8 races and got 58 positions. So he's got like 7.5 positions a race.
Yeah.
It's his qualifying for sure. I've tried to help him with it, to be fair, but I don't think he's quite got it yet. Then you've got the complete flip side in that division as well of Jock. He's the world's best qualifier and worst racer, who is 2 points, who is like 10 points above Basson.
Yeah.
Very, very strange. He was one of the fastest racers in the server on 21. He just can't drive on 22 for whatever.
Yeah,
I think as well, if you look
23 then.
Yeah, if you look at legacy standings, people like Dental could be coming down into the second tier pro. So you could be finding that he's really maybe the favourite for next year if he is, still going to be on board.
So the reason I didn't mention Dental is because he only joined mid-season, you see.
But he's raced 4 races, but he's not picked up the points at the moment.
So he's done 4 races.
Yeah.
And he's raced 3. Sorry, he's raced 4. He DNF'd 1, but he's come 5th and 8th in 2 of the 3. He's done okay standings wise. It's a bit complicated that tier because we've had quite a lot of movement.
I think they'd be the ones that he'd be the ones likely, because if you're looking at RRL James, you haven't really had much time with him to know whether he belongs
the one that's
there.
most scary is Type R Fit, right? His pace, he's way quicker than me, but he's DNF'd a lot. He's raced basically every race. He's going down at the moment. He would win Pro by 100 points. So,
that's crazy.
So difficult to say. It's going to be a challenge for us to sort out for sure. But I think Pro will still be incredibly competitive next season, and obviously you boys are looking like you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Armin, what are you thinking about doing a full champ season next year? How are you feeling about that? You're going to give Blue a push next season?
This is the same guy that was fingering everything. He's got
Well, the
championships.
thing is, I don't know why, but I've gone from winning everything and to now I'm slower than my best friend and I can't deal with it. I can't be taking it.
It's probably PS4.
But you've got to take into account, right? You missed 4 races because of Ramadan. Right?
Yeah.
So if you had finished, you finished an average of about 6th or 7th, I think, in the races you've done in Champions so far. If you'd finished 6th in those 4 races, you would be up there with Blue in the standings.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of higher finishes than you, but he's also had races where he's finished 18th and 11th and things like that. So you're not actually as far off as you think. His pace might be outright better at the minute, but as far as standings are concerned, I don't think you'd be far off.
Yeah.
No.
You've got to challenge that mini league.
100%. But I think out of me and Blue, I feel like I can deal with situations better. Like, he might be quicker than me right now, but I still back myself. If we went full championship, we competed at every race, I reckon I could still beat him.
But did he not beat you to the elite title?
What happened?
Didn't he come 4th in the league last season?
No. But at one point, kind of what tier it was? Did he not beat Armin to the title? Or am I making that up?
I think elite last season, Armin came 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. So
Correctly.
Blue won.
I don't remember exactly. I think Mac was 2nd, wasn't he? It was Blue, Mac, you, Matthew Martin, Hassan, and Andre, I think, were the 6.
Yeah, Andre.
Andre's gone to reserve this season. Mac and Cheese has given up because they're too quick.
Has he had any races, Andre?
Andre, I think he's raced maybe 1 or 2 this season.
Oh, shame.
He's raced 1 this season, but is one of those 306 champions reserves that we've got. But yeah, that tier will fill out.
We touched upon this before, but I wanted to ask you, because obviously You are the Champions driver. You're a pro commentator, and you're a team principal for United Racing. And I said it. You've been fingering everything, but how are you finding? How are you finding, in particular, being a commentator? We all think you've done an amazing job. You're very unique. You don't know what's going on all the time, and that all makes it epic. How how have you found it stepping away from your comfort zone?
So yeah, obviously, I've never done comms. I've always been like a driver. Um, so doing comms, starting at pro tier as well. First weeks were really, really like tense. I was quite nervous about what I was supposed to be doing because obviously comms you got to give entertainment to the drivers, to other people watching, present the league in the best way. But as soon as we got into that race in Mexico, I, I started the stream and the viewership went up to like 15 already. I was like, what is going on? And then people like Brad, Jock, Rattigan, Hilly, they all joined the stream, started commenting, and from there it just turned into like a general conversation where I didn't feel like I was doing comms anymore. I felt like I was just talking to a few friends and just describing what's happening in the race. And from there, somehow I found this like amazing support from every person. And Wednesday last week was unbelievable. That was probably my favorite
It was unreal.
moment in PGR. And I've won like the World Cup. That was one of my favorite moments. But that Wednesday comms was honestly the best thing I've ever done, I think.
You were brilliant. I was watching the Arsenal game and you at the same time. So for you to get my attention throughout a big title game like that just goes to show how entertaining your comms are, especially the Scotty and Blue incident. I think that'll live long in the memory. But it's not easy, is it? It's not easy at all. And
no, obviously you done it for us last season in Elite, and honestly, I've got mad respect for you, Jay. You started covering it, and you did a brilliant job. I can't lie.
Well, it's a struggle because it's those tiers, but especially there's not much communication. Like so, you don't know how with what you're doing in pro. I think you've got people that actually will message you and things. I think with Champions tier, especially, I think maybe Thomas that may find it difficult because there's no like viewership is there where you can communicate with them. So I was like, oh, who am I talking to? I didn't enjoy it. We did it, but it's. That's why I've got mad props
Champions will improve and continue to improve, though. And the more 100%. Regulars and people that are more interesting to actually get involved, more interested in getting involved. The more we get, the more seasons we have, then the better the Champions division's going to get.
And we've got three.
That's why I've always sort of, when Fear starts his stream and Thomas, I always head over to them. Just say hello, how you doing, and stuff like that, before maybe going into my champs race and driving. Because obviously you can't really talk in the race, so it's So, but during quali, when you're in the pit lane, I just go and speak to them because I'm not doing
the same.
We've got three amazing commentators as well. Thomas with his.
I think it's a good thing, like with like Power Grid in general. One of like sets the league apart is like the community of it in general, because you have like obviously the commentators are unreal, so like they earn the viewers, but at the same time like you've got a bunch of people that are always willing. It is such a community server. I mean, I've been on servers before for other games and they've never been like PGR, like nothing the same.
Yeah, because we've got the gaming aspect as well. You boys are playing Minecraft at the moment, isn't it? Quite a few of you.
Oh yeah, we play so many games, but yeah, we're playing Minecraft competitive in PGR than the F1 to be fair, but yeah, the community of PGR is so good.
Yeah, it's good to play other games with people and picking them up as friends, and it's good to be able to say to people, "Oh, do you fancy a game of this?" And they do it. It's not just turn up and race. It's people that are good friends. And I think the more people that we get in that are consistent and have a good attitude become part of that community quite easily. I think people fit in quite easily, although we are a bit out there sometimes. But most people get introduced with Wayne's other names. But
this is YouTube, boys. This is YouTube.
Generally,
I repeat.
But generally everyone joins in quite well, and you quite quickly see whether people are going to be part of that or not. And
there's always those that surprise you though that you don't think are actually, when they join the Discord, you think, oh, this is going to be a time waster in a sense, and then they end up like contributing massively. Like I can't remember some of the people who joined, like Chicken and Blunts. I'll give Chicken and Blunts as an example. When he joined, I thought he'd be gone in 2 weeks just because of some of the stuff that he was saying. Like he seemed quite blasé with, the stuff that's going on. He's a massive part of PGR now, like in the banter and everything like that. So it's surprising sometimes who really like delves into the community,
Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for people like Chicken who. He also, actually, before I mention anything else, he created a quite funny moment in one of our voice chats, which I will post in the server at some point if I haven't already, where Taylor was overtaking him on Spa, and every time he overtook him, he made a very loud cockerel noise.
Yes, I've seen this.
And it became so distracting that I crashed. But I need to post that. It did it out of nowhere, and it was the loudest thing ever. I was nearly deaf and crashed because he overtook him 3 or 4 times in that race for some ungodly reason. But yeah, that was fantastic. But yeah, Chicken anyway. He comes to me or he comes to us about things, and I appreciate when people do that because I like the community that we have, and I like people to think that we're approachable, and that if they do have an issue and they come to us, we do our best to resolve it, which hopefully we'll have still in the pipeline soon. But yeah, we get a lot of communication from people, and I think the vast majority, if they have issues, they come to us straight away, and that's, I've heard things from other leagues where people aren't as confident in speaking to people about issues because it's kind of their way or the highway. Where
I'd like to think we're one of the best in that sense. I mean, that's what sets us apart from the rest. Is our admins, our stewards.
Really good balance.
Yeah. And one of the reasons we brought you on, boys, is to talk about Drive to Survive. So, as some of you may know, we have a new series based on the real version of Drive to Survive. It's the PGR edition, and it's in production. When we say in production, we speak sometimes about it. Until the new game comes out, and then we will be creating the first episode. Are you excited about the project?
Yeah,
I'm absolutely buzzing.
It's going to be so funny.
Yeah, to be clear, there's 5 of us on the project. I'll forget his name the second time round just on purpose. So it's me, Wayne, Blue, Armin, and the other guy, I think Scotty. We're all in production for our Wednesday League to create the Drive to Survive series. Now, the Wednesday League is all custom teams. We have team principals and we have drama galore. Some of the stuff we've seen this season ranges from Prime Zealous calling out his own drivers and explicit language. We've seen Manic sack one of his drivers for a part-time holiday rep. But a very fast one.
That has won the last 2 races in a row.
So drama galore, 100%. So how have you found the league in general?
Wednesdays have been so much I think there's just an added element of having themes. And the thing is as well, big shout out in principle, like Fezzy. I don't know about you guys, Fezzy for us. Every week pretty much he's on our case with obviously the weather. He's constantly, but
is he actually?
Ideas and tactics and things like that. But if whatever sort of race we've had, it's good to see the principals have got so involved. It would have been so easy to just pick your drivers and just leave them to it, and it might have happened someplace, not with Fezzy. So
how have you found Wayne the driving? Because obviously you're driving against people that predominantly are champions in a legacy. How are you finding the challenge?
It's like the FA Cup, isn't it? Like the big, the underdog, the big boys. Not bad. To be fair, there's so many quick drivers. I can say for myself at the start of the season, the P4s against really better drivers. But I think, the incidents that can happen, I think Manik touched on it in our failed stream, that, because we've got such a range of pace, like it's causing so many incidents and it makes it so much more interesting. You're getting so many results. And it's probably
Yeah.
improving drivers as well, because my teammate Brad, like I say, every week he's improving on Wednesday. Like I really think he's going to win one of the races.
He's been brilliant.
I think he was P2 the other day.
Brad's pace is high elite. He just gets an instant.
Yeah,
I think he's
what
one of those more aggressive sided drivers,
Yeah.
where if he ends up with another aggressive driver, it often ends in an incident. Whether it's his fault or the other driver's fault, it's unfortunate. It's how it happens. And I think, he's quite young, Wayne, but
What is he?
he will he will get there, and for sure he will be up there in the league soon. I think his pace definitely shows. But it must feel great in that Wednesday division when you sit. And I know when even watching it, even though I'm a bit biased as my team, when watching it and you see somebody do well that shouldn't necessarily be up there in the order of things. I think Never Fear got P2 in quali in Canada, for example.
Yeah, he
I
did.
was raving and shouting, on debut, he's come in, he's shocked the world. And unfortunately, I don't think the race went too well for him. But,
Forget about
it's
that.
Canada. That happens. But there is that sort of side of it. It's all about perspective. If you move up a division and you're like, oh my God, these guys are so fast, I'm screwed, then you're not going to have a good time. If you move up and go, you know what, do something.
Yeah,
I'm going to shock the world.
If you look at that,
Then-
that millions that the spreadsheet you set each driver's worth at, right? So you've got Special Clyde Rice, who's fourth in the championship right now, and he's having an amazing time. Unbelievable quality. You've got Wayne and Brad, who were two mid-tier budget-wise drivers who have performed phenomenally in that, and Croft are now second in the league. When you look on paper and you go, nah, they're not going to even be top five. And then, Milan, people that were around mine, I think even myself getting a podium in Australia, my Portugal performance, I was just buzzed. I was so buzzed to do well against drivers that are just, unbelievable, really, like Mac and Cheese and that. Qualifying above Mac and Cheese in Portugal, it's just a great feeling. You don't get that in the lower tiers because you're expected to do kind of finishing top 10. You kind of have that onus on yourself to do well. So
less pressure.
Yeah.
I love it when people challenge the seedings or the money or stuff. Oh, I'm only worth this. Oh, prove me wrong then. And I love it when they do.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I proved you wrong. I'm like, good, great. I'll see you next season when you're 6 mil. I think Milan said the other day, is like, are we going to be worth the same next season? No. No, that's not how it works. A good example of that was I remember when we were streaming and doing the Sundays reveal for this season, and we did the Red Bull team, and I don't know if you remember this, but it was Action Jock.
Yeah.
And Action just dominated the Sunday League last season, Tier 2. I think he won by quite some way. And everyone, and I mean 10, 20 drivers in the chat were like, this is so rigged. They're going to win by 300 points. It's going to be the worst championship ever. How have you let those two be together? Just for the camera, they're currently P4 and 100 points off. So if you could not doubt us in the future, appreciate it.
Yeah. I guess what it's all about, and it's sort of the surprises and stuff like that. It makes it so much unique.
Yeah.
It's one of those. The team that are doing so well in Pro this season, that are winning the championship at the minute, are two drivers that are just massively overperforming in A Danger and Matt F1, aka Talented.
Yeah,
they're doing a great job, and that, to be fair, that constructors is still really tight, and Red Bull may even win it, but it's a very well fought contest for sure.
Yeah.
I think as well, when you look at Healy's performance, was he ranked number 1 for the season or not?
Was he hell? No. He came. So I drove with him in Apex last season, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying this, that he was completely middle of the road for the majority of the season. He, I think, had one performance where he did well, which was in Portugal in the wet. He came second, and the remainder of the season he didn't finish in the top 6, maybe more than once. and I think he finished. Wayne, he was right next to you in the standings. I can't remember if he was one above or one below you, but he was 9th or 10th in Apex last season.
Yeah,
And then this season he's come out and he's like, right, Scotty mode. Okay,
he could be double champ. He can race this Sunday, do well in Jeddah, then he's going on holiday the week after, and he can sit back and relax because he'll have a nearly 100-point lead and go, do you know what?
I don't know if he's revealed. Has he revealed to people what's happening at the end of the season? I don't know if he has.
What do you mean?
Oh no.
Well, with the fact that he's disappearing, I don't think he's mentioned. But...
Oh right, going on holiday. Oh well, by the time this comes out, he'll be flying off.
So he'll be gone. Yeah. So I think in Apex he's got it sewed up. He's got it pretty sewed up. I think he's quite far ahead. In Pro, he definitely doesn't.
Right.
In Pro, he's only 30 points ahead, and I think 30 points if he's missing 2 races.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the details of how long he's going away, but 30 points if he's missing 2 races.
He misses 2 Sunday races, so it depends.
So he needs to win by miles.
Yes, this is his last race, I think. Then does that make it his last race?
Yeah, he needs to win by a long way on Jeddah. Otherwise, I don't know. Who do we think's favourite for Pro? Like Brad's up there, Danger's up there, Milan's up there. Anyone could win it, really. They're all very close.
Yeah, I think something with Sunday Pro as well. Every race is different. Like the quali gap in Q1. Oh, by the way, for all 3 quali sessions, what an addition that is. But
you like it?
Yeah, especially commentating over there, I like it a lot. A lot of shocks. But Q1, first to like 17th, I think it was. They're separated by less than a second. So like Healy got knocked out in Q1 like 2 weeks in a row in Spa and the race after. So championship is wide open between probably 7-8 drivers.
It's, the quali's great. I really enjoy the full quali. A couple of people have said they don't, but we'll.
Is it those though that really? It's not really people that are complaining. Obviously, to get to Q3, is it? Let's be real here. Yeah. I feel like those that are complaining, of course, are unfortunately going out in the early stages. I don't think those that are doing the full length of qualification are having a problem. So that's the way it is. I don't know if it would be
justification to practice. You know that you tend to find the people that do well in qualifying are the ones that practice. You know, see, I think you see more pace in qualifying from practice than you do in race pace. Race pace is pretty natural. You know, you're going to gradually increase your race pace if you practice, but if you practice a track, your qualifying is what you're going to see the difference in. A lot of the time, so it's those that don't practice as much, I think, that struggle a bit more in qualifying.
I like the tactical side of it. So there's like, for instance, in Imola the other day, pace wasn't great for the first lap I did, but you make that choice. Oh, am I going to go through with this pace? Yeah, I'll sit it out, take that risk, and then you go through, and and then you got Q2. I just think it adds so much more.
I have absolutely loved it. So because I've been right on the cusp of Q2, Q3 a couple of times this season. Because obviously Legacy's crazy sometimes. You were saying about times. This weekend we had 6/10 between 2nd and 15th in Q2. SW was on a whole different playing field and Earth and planet, but everyone else was really close. I was in 5th, right? But I was so close. No, sorry, I qualified. When I went over the line, obviously you go over the line, then you start going down. Went over the line, I was 3rd. I was like, I went into the garage, looked at the times, I was like, I'm not safe.
Yeah.
There's 3 minutes left. I'm fucking 3rd and I'm not safe. I've got to go out again.
That's so nerve-wracking though.
I was like sat there in the garage like, do I, don't I? Like, oh no. I eventually didn't. I ended up 13th. I was 3rd. I went 13th. I was like, oh my god.
I think Scott had something similar. Remember if you went through?
Yeah, Scott came 15th. Scott came 15th in that quali, and I was like, because Scotty does this thing where he sets a good lap and then he'll retire, and I'm like, Scotty, what have you done?
What would you retire?
He's crazy, man. His qualifying's really come on. I think he's just been putting a bit more time in that.
Yeah,
his
he
qualifying's
has
really
done.
come
I
on. I
think.
shouldn't have given him any tips. God damn.
I think that did help him as well because he's just suddenly just boomed with his quality. So yeah,
Yeah, I tried to help him. I tried to help Chris out as well, but I don't think
I think
he's
Chris
quite.
he just doesn't practice. I think that's all it is. It's quality for him now.
Yeah,
He just doesn't
probably.
get the laps in beforehand.
Imagine he takes the off season off, becomes a quali god, and gets pole in his first race back.
I'd love to see it. It'd be sick.
Controversial moment of the season. There are drivers that I'm really looking forward to coming back in 23, and I really hope they do. I'll give a couple of those a quick shout out. Andre did really well and went under the microscope in Elite last season. Went up to champs.
Yeah, he was really good.
I would like to see Bugatti come back, the OG, who has, up until this season, had more points than anyone in PGR across the board.
Was there a reason? I can't remember. What was it with Bugatti? Was it he fell out of love with the racing, or was he gone to other leagues, or?
I think he just said he was busy. He didn't really specify too much.
Right, fair enough.
Obviously, Mr. Steroids himself, Kyle. I'd love to see him come back. Taylor Drift, if I can convince him to. He said he was going to for 23. I hope so. It'd be good to race with my friend again.
He was the one on the beta earlier, so hopefully that he doesn't play too much.
He hasn't spoken to me too much about it, but I'm go karting with him tomorrow, so hopefully I'll bow of him. Yeah. And a couple of people that I'd just love to see back. Taylor Drift is one, right? A friend of mine has been my friend for years. He comes on, steals my setup, and beats me in races. Every bloody week. I've been practicing for 20 hours. He's one of those naturally good at the game guys. If he put time in, he'd be in champs. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It pissed me off. Go-kart, so good luck and all.
Yeah, well, we're all quite close. Don't worry. But, me and those three: Snossage, Grimsleeper. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to seeing those guys again. And I think we might lose one or two as the start of the season comes out, but I think there'll be a huge influx of drivers as well with the new game, the new excitement.
Yeah,
that's true.
Last point then, boys. What do you guys think as going into next year that you would want the game to have that's different to this year?
I don't know. The thing is, F1 20. I did play F1 21. 22 was like predominantly my first proper F1 game. But one thing I've just never been able to nail is medium traction, and I heard it's a lot easier on 21. So I'm hoping the handling is a bit better on 23, so I can actually try and learn it a little. And then just ironing out the bugs. I don't really want it to be that different. I just want them to iron out something I've seen people fall through the floor and out of the sky. Some of the penalties people get are stupid. So hopefully they just iron out the bugs and keep it. I don't even mind if it's much the same, to be honest.
Yeah, for me, I think it's a thing they can add. Obviously, it's not easy, but it'll really help for obviously the Wednesday League and DTS, where we have a similar system to GT7 of a fully customizable livery maker. Yeah. That would make the game so much better. Because an issue we've got in Wednesday League is drivers don't have liveries, and it's so hard to match it up. So getting something like a livery editor like they have in GT7 would be such a big addition. But in terms of gameplay as well, it's like what Wayne just said about the traction. I've been playing F1 2020 recently. And I play it on no traction, and it's so easy. I don't understand what they've done in this game.
I think even F1 drivers have said who've played the game have said it. I think they said no traction is completely, wrong to how it feels in real life. It's nothing like what you'd think. Medium's a bit closer to it, but I don't understand why they made it so difficult. When the people do nail it, they fly. To be fair, but
yes,
I think the people you see that nail it, have been doing no TC for years, and it's probably not too different to them.
Hey, the word
people that
street,
are transitioning down are the people that you're seeing struggle this season.
I think next year's game is more of a focus to them. I think, from what I understand, is they're going to come away from PS4 creation, and the handling model and things is going to be so different than for F124 that a lot of work has been put into that and changing the engine, because I think they've had the same the same system engine for God knows 5-6 years even plus. So they're looking at changing that in order for it to completely feel different for us, but maybe in a better way going forward.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I just said realistic rule changes, really. So overtaking safety car, the lapped cars, would be good, because you're completely out of the race really at the minute if you fall that behind for whatever reason. And just realistic rules across the board, really, that you can enable and disable. It would be great for us as a community and as a racing league to have more customizable options within league races. All of it's very basic and not very editable at the moment, and I would much prefer it to be better. And another point I had was, as well as TC, was the crossplay. Obviously, the crossplay is an issue at the moment.
Great shout.
And not only are the invites rubbish,
but
the gameplay can be difficult. So if they could bring that in, it would really help us.
That seems really basic bitch, that kind of thing to sort out, doesn't it? Just invite all.
Yeah.
It is, but you tend to see that they don't really. Game companies, from experience of looking into it, is they more prioritize things that benefit them financially, such as liveries and stuff. That's the reason the livery system is as it is, because it costs real money. That's why I don't think they'll move to a GT7 type system, because it doesn't cost anything to do GT7 liveries in real money, and the only function that in-game, whatever they're called, podium pass and those sort of things have, is your battle pass and your liveries that you can buy for real money. I think that's why they keep them that way, because it's an EA game, and EA games do that, e.g. Ultimate Team, FIFA, e.g.
My question to you, Manic, my question on that really is then, surely though, do they not make money on, say if they use, like a bit like GT do, use like a McDonald's brand, Pepsi, Monster, do they not make the money from the advertising of those companies, the liveries?
No,
not at all.
It's made manually. It's not an official logo. Like people customize it to make it look official.
Okay,
that's what they could do in the future. That's what I'm saying. Could they do is like.
Where's it gone?
I said sorry, go on. My bad.
Hello?
I thought I had to check my phone.
I looked at my screen and thought, has my headphones died because we've been on so long?
We all just thought we crashed, but oh, that's so funny, right?
Very British of us.
It's like Manic dropping the word guesser and fucking waiting on his clues. Fucking, where's he gone?
I need to do another one of them.
Well, we've loved having you boys on. We know we've taken a lot of your time up with the second attempt. Well, you'll see this go live. You'll see it go live probably next week once me and Manic put the rest of it together. But what a great couple of guests to have on the first show of Unfiltered. And we hope you enjoy it.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no.
Thanks for sticking around.
I really appreciate being part of the PGR boys. It's been really good. Yeah, nice one, guys.
Thanks, boys.